Welcome everyone, thank you so much for joining in. Before I dive into the content, I want to thank each and every one of you for this continuous support. That means a lot. And also, if you are unaware of my private group, it is actually completely free. You just have to follow some instruction. So feel free to check that in the description down below. But now, if we look at the current Bitcoin scenario, you can see, I told you guys on my previous video, this crossing over this 20 exponential moving average, crossing over the 50 exponential moving average, that in most of the cases has been a very bullish scenario for Bitcoin. For example, here another example happened here, right? I also showed you guys along with this RSI confirmation. So if the RSI is above this 50 level, and also if you see this bullish crossover happening here, that will give us a stronger confirmation that this trend is actually bullish. And I told you on my previous video, this here you can see right now there is another crossover, and this crossover also is actually showing us that, hey, the primary trend, as you can see, is very bullish for Bitcoin. And not only that, the RSI was also clearly above the 50 level. And now, even though you can see there is some slight pullback, but still guys, this is clearly showing an indication that the trend of Bitcoin is very bullish. And if we look at this MACD, the MACD is also now entering the positive territory, and you can also see this bullish crossover. So this right now, looking at this current Bitcoin price action in a daily time frame, the trend is still very bullish. I actually took short here around this price level of 11,620 area. I will come back to that reason why, okay? But for now, you can see in a daily time frame, the price of Bitcoin is actually very bullish. And also, if you look at this another scenario right now, let's switch the chart. This scenario here of Bitcoin in a weekly time frame, guys, you can see the price of Bitcoin now is clearly heading towards the upper direction following this ascending channel, this yellow line inside this, right? So you can see above this area, this here is a resistance line. But now this bigger picture here, this is a previous key level structure, because in many cases price after reaching this area has failed, and now you can see the hesitation for price to actually break above this previous key level structure. But now guys, as I said you, the trend in a weekly time frame looks very bullish, indicating, hey, maybe in the coming days, even though we are seeing some sort of a pullback, we can still actually retest this area, because I showed you guys with this very simple example. There was a possibility for price to actually come back and retest this price level of 11,000 to 12,000, because I said you, before we had this price reversal here, or we had this price reversal here, you can see we had this massive price drop, and all of a sudden you can see the price came back to retest the previous key level structure. It failed, and then we had this bearish scenario again here in 2019. You can see price came at that level, it failed, and then you can see again similar jump just to test the previous key level structure. It failed, and what happened after that? You can see another bearish scenario. And now if we look at this price structure of Bitcoin, this is a similar scenario, guys. We came here, we failed just like here, and now we are entering the previous key level structure. So that's why I still believe the price of Bitcoin could go even higher than this 11,000. I'm actually looking for around this 12,000 price level for now, because if we break this key level structure, guys, that will indicate the trend is now completely going parabolic, because you can see here breaking this key level structure for the second time, that will indicate the trend is very bullish. And if we fail to cross above this, guys, that could actually lead another bearish scenario for Bitcoin. But now looking this in a weekly and also in a daily time frame, the trend of Bitcoin is actually very bullish. Also, if we look at this scenario with a different perspective, the trend of Bitcoin in a daily time frame is still very bullish. And let me show you that. You know, I talk about the CPR analysis time and again in my videos. Why? Because these traditional pivots line are very important. If you are a new trader and doesn't have any plan, for you guys, this CPR indicator could be a great help, because these lines, which you can see here, this line gets plotted automatically. So you just have to look how the price reacted after reaching that particular level and react accordingly. So now if we look at this price structure of Bitcoin using this monthly CPR, you can see, guys, the trend, the primary trend of Bitcoin is very bullish, and we can see that very clearly, because now the monthly CPR, the price has clearly broken above it. And you can see here I have a line placed in that area where I took short, and I'm going to show you in the next example. But now if we look at this scenario, and every time when we were heading above like this, making an ascending CPR, the price always came to reach the R1 level. So in a monthly CPR, the R1 has always been reached, but here in September we left it completely open. But now, as you can see, this trend here, even though the price of Bitcoin is showing reversal at this current stage, doesn't mean that trend is actually bearish, guys. So this is some sort of like a small pullback, because you can see after this kind of like price pump, the trend gets exhausted, and now this pullback doesn't mean the trend is actually bearish, right? We can actually take advantage of this, because we know now after this massive pump we could see some pullback before continuing to the upside, and this is exactly what I'm actually expecting for Bitcoin. And if you also include this Williams alligator indicator, guys, you can see this crossover. This is one very bullish crossover in a daily time frame, indicating, hey, the trend is actually very bullish. And also with the previous example and indicators, those are all indicating the trend of Bitcoin is actually very bullish. And even though, as I said to you, right, price gets reversal, you can see this moving averages is also going to act as a support, and then price is going to continue further to the upside. But now, as I said, you guys, I'm actually going to show you the reason why I actually took a short trade from this price level of 11,620 area. And also, guys, I would really appreciate if you could smash the like button, and if you are watching this for the first time, definitely hit the subscribe button and the bell. And again, if you are unaware of my private group, guys, it is completely free. Feel free to check the description down below, because there are some instructions you have to follow to join the private group. And now let me switch the chart and show you guys the reason why we took short in my private group. So now, if we look at this price structure of Bitcoin in a 4-hour time frame with the help of this RSI and this awesome oscillator, yesterday when the trend was going parabolic, guys, what I did was I actually looked at this with the help of this daily pivot. Let me show you this very interesting scenario, okay? Because if we look at the price action, now you can see this looks very complicated, so let's switch the time frame into 15 minutes, okay? So now you can see, guys, what is this here? I have said this plenty of time in my videos. This here is the R1 level, this here is R2 level, and now this is R3 level. And look at this, this is the R4 level, the most important level in a daily CPR. Why? Because I have said you, after reaching the R4 level, what happens usually? The trend gets reversal. And yesterday when the trend was heading to the upside, I actually waited for price to test this area, guys. And when we had this price reaching this particular area, the R4 level, I said, hey, now this is a good indication that trend might be reversing after reaching this area. And you can see this weak rejection here, and after that the trend started heading to the downside, right? So now let's do this very simple thing. If we use this daily CPR and just deselect the R1, R2, R3, okay, and only leave the daily R4, because I said to you guys, after reaching the R4 level in a daily CPR, price tends to reverse. So to the downside, we are leaving the support 1, support 2, support 3, and only including the daily S4 level. Why? Because just like after reaching the R4 level, price tend to reverse, exactly after reaching the support S4 level, in many cases price goes to the upside. So now you can see we have only 2 lines, right? We have only 2 lines. This above is the R4 level. Let me write that down. You guys might get confused. I'm actually going to teach you this, because this is going to help you a lot, this trading strategy, guys. You can see this here is R4 line, and to the downside, this here is S4 line. So this is the final support. So you can see now all this green line, those are our R4 level. And now let's look where the price has actually touched the R4 level, okay? So now you can see if you go backwards, guys, you will notice, hey, we can see the price came here and touched the R4 level, and after that you can see we did saw a hesitation and price didn't got that proper breakout to the upside, because I told you this, after reaching the R4 level, price tends to reverse, right? And now let's go back and look where we had this similar price structure, and also price reached the R4 level. Look at this price after coming around this R4 level. Look at this weak rejection here, right? After reaching the R4 level, it found a reversal. Now let's go back and look here. For example, you can see, right, reach the R4 level, it got a hesitation, price consolidated, and then look at this reversal, guys. CPR trading is a magic, guys, because this doesn't happen often, but hey, if you spot this kind of like price reaching the daily R4 level, that is a very good sign that hey, now you can use this for your advantage. And that was one reason why I actually took short from this 10,620 area, somewhere around here. And another reason was looking at this RSI. If we, let's hide this CPR for now and look at the price action of Bitcoin in a 4-hour time frame, guys. If we look at this in a 4-hour time frame, you can see here, and look at this price structure and look at the RSI, guys, to the downside. You will notice, look at this price movement here to the upside, right? So price was clearly indicating, hey, the trend is heading to the upper direction. And you can see here, the trend here was clearly heading to the upside, right? So to the downside. But if you look at this RSI, this here was showing a bearish divergence. This here was a very wonderful clue. And not only that, looking at this with the awesome oscillator, this awesome oscillator also indicated, hey, look at this RSI, look at this awesome oscillator. This is a very clear divergence, the bearish divergence which occurred. And we know here we also have this S4 level of resistance, and we also saw this divergence. Now you can see you got so many confirmation. And not only that, guys, I also looked this with the help of this weekly CPR. You can also use the weekly CPR, and I only included the R1 for the weekly CPR. So weekly I'm using only the S1 support and the R1 resistance line. So if you look at this with the help of this weekly CPR, you can see, guys, this here, this weekly CPR is going to stay for the whole week, right? Until this week ends, this line is going to be exactly here, and it's going to act as a support, because you can see price after reaching the upper line of this weekly CPR did actually found a support. And now you can see here what is also hiding here. This here was also the resistance line of weekly R1 level. So you can see we had two like resistance line, the weekly resistance line, the daily alpha resistance line. We saw this bearish divergence here, and also oscillator also indicated the bearish divergence. So this was one very wonderful reason why I actually took short and made. Right now I'm actually around this 60% profit, and I'm also waiting for price to retest this lower area, because now, even though as I showed you in a daily time frame, the trend looks very bullish, hey, why not to take utility of this kind of rejection, right? Rejection from this resistance line, and also this divergence, this bearish divergence, indicating for shorter term we might see a pullback, and I'm just taking advantage of this pullback. So guys, this is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If so, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button and the bell if you're watching this for the first time. And if you want to join my private group, guys, feel free to check the link in the description down below. So by saying this, I'm signing off. My name is Anup. Bye bye.